You're awesome.
She's like a Cosmo reader. She has like a couple of really good questions for you.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. Or Kelly, yeah.
Hi.
What do you think?
Yep.
Oh, so you could, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool.
All right. You ready, Alex?
Yep.
Okay.
ready for
We're
that.
gonna go. Ready? Everybody? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, welcome to Cosmo Live. I'm Alex Reese, the pop culture editor here at cosmopolitan.com. I'm filling in today for Amy Odell because she is sunning on a beach somewhere tropical right now. It is her honeymoon, and so who can blame her? I am joined by a bunch of my colleagues from the website. So we have Carly Cardellino, our beauty editor. Hi, Carly.
Hi, guys.
Carly is in all white today, which is a brave summer look.
Yes.
But good luck to you.
Thank you. That was like a subtle shade.
No. I'm like a sweaty British mess, so it's more
Good. Lala
appreciated.
likes it.
There you go. That's for the win. We have Frank Cavola, our sex and relationships editor. Hi, Frank.
Hey.
CJ, our shirtless hunk.
Oh.
CJ.
Okay.
He's shirtless. He's
Hi,
also
CJ.
in corduroy cutoffs, which are frayed.
Corduroys.
It's a snazzy look.
Thank you.
Nice.
We have Emma Barker, sex and relationships editor.
Yep.
Hi.
And we have Elisa Benson, our community manager. Elisa is going to be fielding all your tweets today, so please get in touch with the hashtag CosmoLive. Elisa is also going to be taking questions for our very special guest, who we are all really excited about. I am a huge nerdy fanboy, and have been for a while, so let's all welcome Lala Anthony.
Hi, everybody. Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Of course,
How's
thank
it
you for
going?
having me. Going so great. Thank you
Good,
for having me.
good.
Loving the eye candy.
Yeah.
So much. Great.
We've got to make it a treat for you.
Yes.
So, we all thought about getting shirtless, but we couldn't quite pull it off like today. So we're here because you have a new film out on Thursday,
Yes.
Think Like a Man 2.
Yes.
So tell us what's going to be happening in Think Like a Man 2.
So in Think Like a Man 2, it takes place in Vegas,
Mhm.
and we're having a bachelorette and a bachelor party. It's kind of like a battle of the sexes to see who can do Vegas better, the guys or the girls. You have Kevin Hart in this film,
Mhm.
Taraji Henson, Gabrielle Union. So many amazing actors in this movie, and it's in Vegas. Like, what more can you want? It's taking place in Vegas, and all kind of wildness happens that we've all probably been a part of in Vegas. Let's not act like it's just me by myself. Exactly.
We're there with
exactly.
you. We're there.
So it all comes across on screen, and it's just basically one of the funniest movies you will ever see. So I'm super excited about it.
Awesome. Do you keep to the rule that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, or are you somebody that is going to have to talk about it when you get back?
I 100% stick to that rule.
Okay.
And it's funny because we're always having discussions about that, because what was said on our set is that girls know how to keep that rule more than guys do. Guys, somehow there's going to be an Instagram picture, there's going to be a tweet, something's going to happen that messes up kind of the Vegas code. Girls know how to keep stuff really quiet.
So there's a Vegas code.
Exactly. There
See.
is a Vegas code.
I was not aware of the Vegas code.
Yeah.
But-
I
I've been to Vegas.
I do feel like girls are the masters of the Instagram pictures where it's just enough to, the caption is like, having so much fun.
Right.
But it's just like a pile of glitter up close.
Exactly.
You just
Fun night.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what
Like
could
what
have
is
happened.
that?
Yeah.
Right.
Just enough
Yeah.
to tease you. That's clever. So I was
Exactly.
watching the trailer, which I thought was a blast, and one particular scene, I did notice an inflatable sex doll.
Yes.
Is that going to be a fun plot? I mean, I'm just always enjoying an inflatable sex doll in an appropriate manner. But where are we going to go with this kind of
Oh
debauchery?
yeah, we actually go pretty far, and it's so
Excellent.
funny because we named the doll Idris as in Idris Elba, the sexy actor that we all know. So the doll has
Yes.
been named Idris.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Does it just make it through the movie intact, or?
He's bumped and bruised a little bit. I'll leave it at that.
I guess that's Vegas.
Does-
Yeah, exactly.
Does
Exactly.
Idris Elba know about this?
Actually, we don't know if he knows about it. So he doesn't know, and I'll be interested to see his reaction. Hey, I think it's kind of cool to have an inflatable sex toy named after you. Obviously, you're doing something right? You know what I mean? So yeah.
Totally. So I guess whether it's Vegas or not, what would be your tips for a good bachelorette party? What do you think you need to do to make it a night to remember, even if you're not going to talk about it afterwards?
Well, I think you definitely need great music. You want to go to like a club and have great music that just makes people get up and get wild. And I do think you need great drinks. Like, you need great drinks. You need to loosen up and have a good time. And just, I don't think it should be so much about like games and do this. I just think you need like great music, great people, and kind of just let the Vegas energy take you over.
Okay.
I think the best place to do a bachelor or bachelorette party is in Vegas.
So you're saying not everything has to be shaped like a penis?
See, I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say that, but
You were always allowed to say
okay,
penis.
I'm like, well,
This is Cosmo.
that could help, I guess. So, I mean, yeah.
We actually get in trouble if we don't say penis.
Okay,
At least
got it.
4 or 5 times in the
Yeah.
podcast.
Got
so
it.
who knows,
Wait, so
sometimes.
what's your drink of choice then?
Well, I'm kind of a light drinker, so I like a Cosmo.
Oh.
So, like, wow, Cosmo. By the way, I didn't plan that.
That was a good plug.
But yeah, I do like a Cosmo martini. Like, I just like light. They call them girly drinks in a sense. I just like light, fun drinks. But after a few, you'll get a nice buzz and
Yeah.
be able to enjoy what's happening.
Yeah.
You can really make the most of the night, I guess.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
Perfect. So I guess the other thing that I think we wanted to talk about is you have a clothing line, Fifth and Mercer. And I think that events like a bachelorette party, where it's, you think it's a lot less, it's a lot more casual than a wedding.
Right.
But you still kind of need to adhere to rules. You don't want to upstage the bride to be
You don't want to do
necessarily.
that. You don't want to do that.
What's a good look for a bachelorette party in Vegas?
I think like you can never go wrong with like a short black dress. Like
Okay.
that is universal. Everyone owns one of those. You can't go wrong, and it doesn't feel like you're trying to outdo the bride or you're doing too much. So like a strapless short black dress is like perfect to me for Vegas without overdoing it, because we've all had those instances where you're looking at your friends and you're like, wait, are you going to the same place I'm going? Because why are you dressed like that? They're just trying to do too much.
You're taking the show theme to heart.
Exactly.
Perfect. So we also wanted to talk to you, and I guess it links really well with Think Like a Man too, because you've also had a book on relationships come out this year, the Love Playbook.
Yes.
So where did all your advice for that kind of stem from?
My advice just stemmed from experiences between myself and my friends. Being a girl and having so many girlfriends, we all call each other when something's going on. And so I just took like experiences that my friends went through and that I went through, and I put it in the book because I realized how many women out there don't have great friends or family to go to for advice. So I was like, what do they do? Like, how do they figure some of this stuff out? So that was kind of my motivation to write the book, and it ended up doing really, really well and has been so great for so many people out there.
That's awesome. Have you always seen yourself as maybe that person within your circle of friends where people will be calling you to be like, what am I doing?
Well, I have, but the funny thing is, it's always easier to give advice than to necessarily take your own advice. So I can tell you all day what you need to do, what you're doing wrong.
I agree.
Yeah, but when
I
it
could
comes
use the help. So.
right, when it comes to like me taking my own advice, that's hard sometimes. When you're kind of telling someone else what to do, that's always a little bit easier. So
what is some of the toughest advice?
Yeah.
Some of the toughest advice is like knowing when it is over in a relationship. So many women like linger on for a variety of reasons. Self-esteem, just not want to be alone, and you stay in relationships way longer. Like, some relationships really have an expiration date, and you have to know when that is and be strong enough to move on and know that life does go on.
Right.
So that it's always hard when you have to tell somebody like, this might be over now. And it's time for you to kind of.
Yeah, and I think, just going to jump in, I think that's a really good point, because I think especially as you get older, there's kind of this expectation that relationships are going to end in marriage, or that's where it's heading. So I think sometimes it can be hard to, if you've been thinking this is the guy I'm going to marry, then it can be really hard to sort of like cut the cord on something.
Right, and I'm of the mindset like I'd rather do it now than later. If it's bad now, it's only going to get worse later. So I'd rather cut my ties now than let it drag on and it just becomes an even worse situation.
Right.
Yeah.
What are some of the warning signs that like the expiration date is approaching that you would hear or look out for?
Well, I think all women know when they don't feel like a priority to a man. That's definitely a sign when you're not invited to certain things, where you feel like you're always calling him. Obviously, if you find out like he's cheating, there's so many things, but we all know when we're important to someone. You just can feel when you're a priority, and when you're not, you have to take a look at it and kind of reevaluate.
So I guess maybe on the more positive, on the flip side.
Right.
We can do deep and serious.
Right.
But what would you say are the secrets to a really successful relationship? You know, a marriage, a long-term relationship, anything?
Yeah, you know, my husband and I have been together now over 10 years, and the secret is to just keep it spicy. Don't let it become boring. If you're with somebody for as long as I've been with my husband, it can easily become boring if you don't kind of spice it up and do fun things, you know, just to keep it, you know, exciting. So don't get boring. And of course, the normal things in our relationship, you have to communicate. You know, there's trust, there's respect, there's the normal things. But for me, keeping it fun has really worked for us. You know, we still actually enjoy being around each other and doing things. It's not boring.
Maybe this is a really silly question. How do you deal with somebody, this is maybe just me, not knowing anything about any sports, ever. Is it difficult to be with somebody who is super, I assume, involved in sports and into sports, and that is such a huge part of their life, when it's maybe not yours?
Yeah, it can be difficult only because along with the sports comes the traveling all the time.
Right.
It's a whole life that comes along with that. Never really being in one city for too long, that becomes difficult. But I've always loved basketball, lucky for me.
Yeah.
I actually played basketball in high school.
Oh, wow.
Pretty good too, by the way. Yeah. So I love the sport, so I don't get, you know, tired of it. But it just kills me sometimes when people are like, oh, so do you go to all his games? And I'm like, there's 82 games a season. There's no way I go to all his games.
Oh my God.
I'm working. I'm doing, you know, my thing too, but I do enjoy it. But yeah, the traveling can take a toll on you. That's when you have to kind of watch your schedules and say, hey, you're going to Miami this week? I think I'll join you on that trip, you know, and you kind of just jump on the bandwagon when it makes sense.
I think a trip to Miami is always a good excuse.
Always.
Wait, so how do you keep it spicy when you're not always together? Like, do you leave each other little messages? Like, what do you do?
Right. Yeah, I love leaving messages. I love leaving notes, and I just love when we are together doing fun things. Like we love going to the movies, going bowling, and like I tell people, it doesn't have to be like this big extravagant thing that was planned out for like a month in advance. Just even a quiet dinner with just him and I, making sure that we have date night and make it a priority. And when we're apart, Skyping is always fun. You know, just continuing to communicate so we feel like we're still together in a sense. Yeah, it's important.
We actually have a Cosmopolitan reader joining us as well, who I know has a question about relationships for you. So, hi, is this Kalia?
Hi, yes.
Hi, thank you for joining us.
Hey.
Where are you calling in from today?
Brooklyn.
Fantastic.
Brooklyn.
So, you have a question for Lala.
Yeah, Lala, I wanted to know, so I guess in terms of dating, like, signs can just be, like, so cryptic. Well, guys can just be so cryptic. Like, it's hard, especially for me and my friends, to figure out if a guy is really into us. So from your expert point of view, I just wanted to know, like, for once and for all, how do we know if, like, he's really genuine or if he's just, like, you know, playing games?
You know, the truth of the matter is a great question. Wow, you're putting me to work here. The truth of the matter is, really in that situation, only time will tell, because when you first meet someone, all of us, we always say, you're meeting our representative. You're meeting, you know, who we envision the perfect person to be. A few weeks or even a few months into it, the real person starts to unveil themselves, and you start to really see. So in the beginning, it can usually be great, and you're like, wow, he's really into me, this is cool. 3 weeks in, you're like, what the heck is going on here? So, you know, it's all about time, and I think, you know, women, and I said it before, we know when someone is into us, and when you have to second guess it, that should be a sign right there, because when someone is into you, you're not going to question it, and you're not going to have to second guess it. You're going to know.
Did you get that feeling right away with Carmelo, or was there a moment a few weeks in where you were like, what the hell? And you got over it?
With him, I kind of did different. I just really started a friendship first. Like, I wasn't interested in a relationship. I was coming out of a relationship. I just wanted to be friends, and I think that's why we've lasted so long, because we are genuinely friends and like to be around each other. So the romance, the wine and dining, that didn't kind of come till after. It was like my friend first.
Yeah, and I think that's actually really interesting, because that can be uncommon, you know, in adult relationships. Usually it's kind of like you're meeting somebody with the purpose of, like, maybe you're being set up or maybe, you know, whatever it is. So usually I feel like that friend piece isn't necessarily there. So I think that's great, and probably why you guys have been together for
and I totally
so
agree with you. Like, even guys and girls I talk to now are like, yeah, I went out with this girl for a week, and it's already like, okay, so what are we doing? What is this? Are we in a relationship? Or are we gonna get married? Like, I'm not dating just to be dating. You know, sometimes that's so much pressure.
Yeah.
Like, just have a good time, enjoy it. Like, everything doesn't have to have a title or like a label. And I think that's where the friendship kind of does go out the window, because everyone wants to have a label immediately and not just
I see
enjoy
that about
it.
myself.
Right. So like, where's this going? What are we? We had one drink together, so are you my boyfriend? You know, it's like, you gotta just give it time to kind of play it. So.
But then sometimes you want to know. So how do you like chill yourself down?
I think you chill yourself down by not making him the priority of everything you do. Having friends, having girls' night, having, you know, focusing on your job
life.
to where your whole life is not just around this person. And I've been with my husband for a long time, and even now my whole world doesn't revolve around him. I like having my girlfriends. I like going out, having girl time. I have a son. I like spending time with him. You know, my whole world is not just around him, and I think that's what works too, and I think he loves that. You know, it keeps me interesting and exciting to him. And it also gives me something to talk to him about, because we're not just talking about his world and what he's doing. I'm like, oh, so today I went to Cosmo, I did this interview. You know, I'm able to talk to him about it.
I think that's probably really good too, because it's like you said, he saw all of that from the beginning. He knew you had a circle of friends, and it wasn't 4 months in. Like, meeting somebody's friends, I'm like, oh, geez, your friends suck.
Exactly.
Like, he knew that from the beginning.
It's totally true.
I also think it's really interesting because I feel like the term friend-zoned is such a thing at the moment. Guys talk about
I
being
hate it.
friend-zoned.
It's not real.
Isn't it so fake?
It's not a thing.
The friend zone. I know.
It's just when a girl doesn't like you, then you're like, I'm friend zoned. No, she just doesn't like you.
She's just not into it. Just not that into it.
But I feel like it can be a good place to start. Like, if you're in the friend zone, you need to kind of know if it's definitely not going anywhere.
Right.
But it's a good place to see where...
It's funny with the friend zone thing. It could go either way. Because like guys, I feel like some guys actually like the friend zone because there's no commitment. Like, we're in the friend zone, we're just hanging out, there's no commitment. Girls, on the other hand, want to know like what it is. Like, don't put me in the friend zone. Does that mean you're not into me? You don't see me as girlfriend material? You know, so the friend zone can be tricky. It worked for us, but I can understand how sometimes that can be tricky too.
I feel like that's probably something that I know you discuss a bunch in the book, and I feel like it's a really strong narrative in Think Like a Man, Think Like a Man too as well, because it's like you said, the boys versus the girls, and there's such a tight friendship between all you the female characters in the movie. How do you see your role within a group of friends? Are you like a particular type?
Well, I'm definitely the type they all come to for advice, and I'm like, how did I become the guru of like all of this stuff? But
after you wrote a book.
After I wrote a book, then everyone came. But you know, it's just, I'm very honest with my advice. I'm not hurtful, but I'm honest, and I can only speak on like experiences that have actually happened to me. And I think people love getting advice from somebody like that, because you know when someone's giving you advice and you're like, what do you know? Like, how are you going to tell me how to run my relationship? What relationship have you been in? What troubles have you had? So with me, I can say, well, remember when this happened, and this is how I dealt with this. And I think people just respect that I've actually been through things to put me in a position to feel like I could give good advice.
Right.
I think I'm a terrible advice giver, because I just always end up telling the person what I think they want to hear, which is like the exact opposite point of advice.
Yes, that is the opposite. I would never ask you. Never. No, you know, but I think it's a way you can be honest without being hurtful.
Yeah.
And that in itself is somewhat of a talent, because being honest, sometimes people say they want to hear the truth, but they don't really want to hear the truth. So you just have to know how to deliver the truth gently.
Because they get mad at you after. And you're like, you just asked.
And you're like, but you asked me. Well, you didn't have to say it like that, you know. But so it's just the way you deliver, you know, the truth.
Have you ever had that problem where you've given people advice and maybe it hasn't worked out quite how they wanted, and then they blame you versus their situation? Yeah,
and for me more because people come to me to like, I want to meet somebody. Do you know anybody? Like, hook me up with somebody. And that's always tricky, because now I have a disclaimer. I'm like, once I introduce you guys, I'm out. Like, whatever happens is not my fault. I can't vouch for what happens 3 months later. I think he's great. I think you're great. go do what you're gonna do, you know, because I don't want that on me afterwards, and that has backfired sometimes. If it doesn't work, it's like, well, you said he was so awesome, and he was, you know, a dog, and this. I'm like, look, I didn't know he seems awesome to me, you know. I don't want that pressure.
Yeah. Lala's matchmaking agency is a one-time only.
It's a one-time only, and I bow out
have-
gracefully, and I go sit in my corner somewhere.
Do you have like matchmaking rules, like you'll never hook one of your friends up with like one of Carmelo's friends, or like anything like that?
I've actually tried that before too. That kind of backfired too, you know. No, I don't do it as much anymore because it does backfire so much. And like, you want to help your friends, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be responsible when things go haywire. So I don't do it as much anymore. But I feel like when you know two people and you feel like, oh, it could be a good vibe. It's nice to just introduce, but no pressure. Bow out and let whatever's gonna happen happen.
Speaking of people with a very good vibe, not necessarily folks you've introduced. Huge event a few weeks back you were a part of, the Kimmy wedding.
Oh yeah.
Is there any salacious gossip from the ceremony that you can share with us?
There was no crazy gossip. It was just such an amazing time to be there and witness two people so in love and just be a part of it was so great. I actually talked to her earlier today. It was just awesome, and I was so happy. It's like just watching your friend be so happy, and you're there to see this whole thing. And I haven't seen two people that in love in a very long time.
You
So
know,
it was just awesome.
I think you even sense that when you look at photos of them.
Yeah.
I like cry when I look at photos of them because you can tell that they are so in love.
Yeah, it's true. It definitely is true, and that's what I love about them. Like, it's genuine love. You know, you see it in photos, I see it behind the scenes, and it's really real, and it's just awesome that they're both so happy.
Did you ever have to give her any advice when she first? Well, I know she's known him for a long time, but did she ever come to you with like
She
a
has
friend
the same
freak out?
situation. She was friends for a long time.
Right,
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's like girl time with us. You know, she gives me advice, I give her advice. She comes to my house, I go to her house. We just have, it's not as deep as people would think. We're in the bed with pajamas, like, oh my God, what should I wear tomorrow? What should I do about this? Or, you know, what should I do?
I love that. That's
Melo's
cute,
driving me
though.
crazy. What do I do? You know, whatever.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like girl fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Definitely.
do you guys do makeup together? Because your makeup is insane, and I know you have a makeup line with Motive.
Yes, Motives is my makeup line.
What is this eyeshadow you're wearing?
Oh, it's a bronzy, shimmery kind of thing. I was trying to go for the
Oh my
summer
gosh,
glow.
I'm in love with it.
It's
gorgeous.
Amazing.
It
This is
gorgeous.
the summer glow.
So when did you start the makeup line?
I started the makeup line probably about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it's just been so great. It's Motives for Lala, and it's really just taken off and given women an alternative to makeup. And what I love about the makeup line is that we say it's beauty in every shade, so we cover all shades, like all shades. Like, a lot of makeup lines just hit a certain shade, and then there's nothing after it, and you're like, what happened to all the women after this, you know, with olive undertones or darker skin, you know, whatever it is. So I feel like we covered everything, and that's something I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your makeup's
Or, you
beautiful.
know, like translucent light.
You run the gamut there. Motives for Lala.
Lola, thank you so
By
much
the
for
way, can I just tell
Yeah.
you, you're great at what you
Oh,
do.
don't.
I'm serious.
Don't.
You are great. First of all, I kept looking like, is there a like, how is he getting all this information from? Like, you are really great.
You should have seen me chugging coffee before.
Okay, well, you are honestly
Oh my
one of
gosh.
the best. Seriously.
Thank you. Well, you too. Oh my gosh, I'm going to blush. It's indeed a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Everybody go see Think Like a Man too, because it's going to be great, and Lala is amazing, and she just gave me a compliment. And we are going to throw to a bunch of people who maybe have not taken Lala's relationship advice, and we're going to watch a compilation of kiss fails.
Oh.
It's going to be nasty. Enjoy.
Oh, give me a kiss before
Just do it. Just do it.
Kiss me. Hey, Joe, give me a kiss.
Give me a kiss.
Hola.
Can I get a kiss?
all of those videos were awful, but I wasn't even bothered because Lala Anthony just said I'm really cool. And
She's so
that's-
cute.
Yeah, she is
She's the
my
greatest.
favorite. That was so fun.
She
And
was awesome.
I loved how real she was
So
talking about the Kim Yu wedding, because I felt like it's so easy either just to brush the whole topic off or just, you know, give us a line that's not really going to give us anything. I really enjoyed knowing that she and Kim have pajama parties.
Yeah, so
I
cute.
think
Talk
that-
about guys.
And like
I love
text
that.
each other and
Yes.
like bitchy stuff about their husbands.
Yeah.
I think she should be. I think Lala should be like honorary Cosmo.com
Yes.
editor.
She's
Yeah.
amazing. I loved her.
I don't know if we can do that.
I
I like that, like giving out a diploma.
Yeah, exactly. Like a graduate or something.
I mean, I would commission her to write a list of the best things to talk about at a slumber party.
Yeah.
Yes.
If she can just tell us one or two of the things that she
I'll
and Kim
take
talk about.
advice from anyone in
Yes.
all red suit.
I'm also going to get
Yeah,
that book.
too.
I feel like I want to know everything that's in it.
You can by
She's
reading
like,
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to get it. But I feel like she had like legit advice you would want to know from
Yeah, totally.
a friend, you know?
Mhm.
Were you taking advice from Lala during
I
the conversation?
actually agree with her everything she said. I
Yeah.
feel like I should write a book now. I mean, I'm motivated.
I would
I know.
She has a great perspective on like.
It would just
the
all
way
be Lala
relationships-
Anthony quotes.
Yeah, exactly.
By C.J. Richards.
One of those like Ryan Gosling books with a photo and the quote,
Yeah.
except it's Lala Anthony.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She's gorgeous,
I think
too.
she's phenomenal.
I'm glad you asked about her eyeshadow because
I
I
couldn't
want
stop
it.
staring at it. It was this copper amazingness.
it was amazing.
It
I
was-
was also just thinking as you were talking about how we're all just like freaking out right now.
Right.
We're having a very public like
True.
starstruck moment. Come back, Lala, we love you.
That's cool.
Yeah,
So
we
we're
need to
real
talk
people
to
here
them.
at Cosmic
Yeah,
Voices.
no,
We're
she's
real.
great.
And we are now going to talk a bunch about our non-Lala Anthony ideas, which is a shame, but we do have some things that are not about her. Frank, do you want to talk about your World Cup sex ideas? Because I'm just fascinated by it.
Okay, so Courts actually did this study recently.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a compilation. But each of the World Cup teams have very distinct ideas of what athletes should do with sex before and during the World Cup competition. That kind of broke everyone down into, you know, teams like Croatia where there's just no sex the entire time you're there. And it's like a month long. So, like, just no sex at all. Some countries like France are only, like, at certain points. Like, you can't do it late at night. You have to get a good night's sleep. And other countries like the U.S. are just like, and England, are just like, do whatever you want.
Wait, what was the country that said they could have any sex except acrobatic sex?
Oh my,
It was amazing. I forget what country
I think
it was.
that was Italy.
that would be Italy.
Something
That's
like
such an
that.
Italian
So-
thing.
Yeah.
It was
Are you
really
saying that
good.
these are parameters put in place specifically for the
For
World
each-
Cup?
By the coaches.
Yeah, by the
Okay,
coaches.
so normally professional athletes don't have sex
No.
guidelines that we know of.
Some teams might have something in place like the night before.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't usually get broadcast that much.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting too because like so many studies fall on either side of it. You know, like some studies say like, oh, this is great to do right beforehand. Some studies say you're gonna cramp up or something could happen, and it actually decreases performance.
I have to say that I was an athlete in college, and there was a girl on my track team who swore that she had to have sex with her boyfriend the night before a meet, otherwise she would do terribly. So
Had he fed her that line?
one person,
Is that like a superstition that
at
you brought
least
into
one
the mix?
person can back that up.
There is one human who agrees
Yeah.
with that. That's hilarious. When I was a cheerleader in college, there was just the no drinking rule. But now that I think about it, there was never a sex rule. Or at least not a spoken out loud sex rule.
Oh my God. Emma, I know you had a really interesting idea also, like the spin on that with female athletes.
Yeah, I wonder, because the World Cup is obviously men, so they probably felt like they had to put a rule in place, especially when, you know, you're in a foreign country and some of the guys are single, they're going to go wild. But I wonder if many of the women's competitions have any rules on that. It seems like no, based on like the rudimentary Googling I did, but I'm not sure why.
That would be really interesting,
Yeah.
I think.
Wait, who's keeping these rules in place anyway?
Like the
Are you
coaches.
telling on your...
Honor system. Man.
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
like, oh, Harry had a rough night.
Well, if you're like
Acrobatic
performing
sex.
terribly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Acrobatic sex the night before.
Yeah.
Crazy. We're going to jump back to Kalia now, who has another idea for us. Hi, Kalia.
Hi.
What do you want to throw at us? What should we be writing about?
Well, I just started my first entry-level job like a week ago.
Congrats!
Nice.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, I'm super duper excited about it. Love the place already. But they gave me a benefits package, and it's just basically a bunch of information that I just don't understand. Like, I don't even understand what pay is. So I'd love to just like know like what young professionals should know before we sign off, you know, on our lives, basically.
Actually,
You
Cosmo just read. We just read a 401k story.
Yeah, you should read our 401k guide, which is, I think it's called like everything you need to know about your 401k, and that covers everything you need to know about your 401k, which I read in detail and learned so much, even though like I've been in the working world for like too long to not know that stuff.
Right.
But no one knows it.
I know.
No one knows how like a
read that, start
rollover
there.
works or like a Roth IRA works. No one knows that.
I'm still in the middle of transferring my funds from my last job. It's a pain, so you're not alone, basically.
But that article covers a lot of stuff, but we should do more.
Yeah.
This is
and
really
I
good
think-
to hear. I know we've
Yeah.
been planning careers coverage, so it's great to know that our readers
Are
want
there
that
any
info.
like specific things you're curious about with your benefits?
Yeah, just like I should opt to go for in-network coverage versus out-network coverage. Like, I don't know the difference. My mom thinks that I should probably opt out of doing the 401k and just use that money to pay back on my student loans. So, yeah, it's just like a lot of decisions that I have to make in a short amount of time that I'm just kind of like confused about, you know?
So you need us to write this article, but like today. Is what you're saying.
This stuff probably just needs to get signed, right?
Yeah,
Like there needs to be something in place.
We are planning more stuff on student loans and paying them off and how to manage them. So hopefully that'll help.
Great. Well, we will work on all of that stuff. I won't, because I have no idea either. But somebody who knows what they're talking about will do it. And I actually think that on that note, we are running out of time because we spent so long with Lala because she was so amazing. But thank you so much for joining us, Kalia. And thank you to everyone for watching along and watching me in particular geek out for the past 20 or so minutes.
I know.
It's been a treat. Thank you all for letting me.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching Cosmo Live. I think we're all going to say goodbye.
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 Rhyme.
Yeah. Try to make a thing out of it.